they're a champion. They've won the biggest championship, and that's the championship of life.
Each week, Smacking Off presents our Life Championship. This week's Life Championship brought to you by Bad Month Tires. You don't have the swag for Goodyear, so aim for the middle with Bad Month Tires, the most economical tire money can buy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is our final Life Championship. This is it. This is for all the marbles. I'm excited now.
Yeah.
Shit. Why did we even talk about this fucking bowls?
I don't know.
All right. This is our final for the 2017 season. This is the final Life Championship, the Butch Jones Life Championship. Rest in peace.
Yes.
Even though he's still alive. I wonder what Butch is doing right now.
Did he get a payout?
I'm sure he did. Yeah.
He's living it up.
Yeah, he's
living a Vida Loca.
Strippers and cocaine, or is he on the river somewhere?
On the river. He's rolling on the river.
Yeah, that's a good thing to be doing. Number 10, the LSU Tigers. We had actually mentioned Troy earlier. You know, that's how that cookie crumbled for them. Coach O came in with some pretty high expectations. Did do too awful.
Started number 13, AP.
Yeah.
Really, a lot of people expected them to compete for the SEC West. I guess you could say they kind of did, but not really. I mean, nobody ever thought that LSU might win the SEC West. 9 wins, 3 losses. Got the loss to Troy. Got the they got curb stomped by Mississippi State, and really kind of exposed Alabama late in the season with their injuries, and turned everybody on to the fact that Alabama may be in for some problems, and they were right.
They were right. Of course, again, Alabama tough through.
Yep.
Number 9, TCU.
What do you think about TCU, Sean?
You know, Horned Frogs had a decent season, but you just knew after that loss to Oklahoma that they just didn't quite have the talent. I think
they could have never made it up into the top 5 of the Life Championship because they started out unranked. But they did get they got as high as number 4 in the AP before losing to Iowa State. And
I think TCU actually kind of overachieved this year. I didn't expect them to actually be as good as they were. Yeah,
I mean, just because they were high profile and they ended up, there was people who thought that they were going to make the CFP at times. I couldn't put them any higher than that, and I really didn't want to put them on the list because frankly there's no TCU fans to even be angered by this.
Yeah, not online as far as we can tell.
Matter of fact, they may brag that TCU made the top 10 of the Life Championship.
Yeah. They may actually have have this in their trophy case.
Somebody's actually mentioning them. They're happy. You know?
We need an actual physical trophy for this. That would be awesome.
I was thinking about that.
And hand deliver it. Just kind of walk up to the university and just hand it to some random student,
or at least to one of the Smackers.
Yeah.
One of the representing Smackers.
But we can't find one for TCU. But they didn't win this year, so maybe next year, guys. Number 8. Speaking of Big 12 powerhouses. Number 8, Oklahoma State.
Preseason number 10. What do you think about them, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think they deserve to be on the list. But I mean, you know, the troubling loss I think for them was that didn't they choke one away to West Virginia? Was it
preseason number 10? They got as high as number 6 before dropping 3 games down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was one game, I can't recall which one right off the top of my head, but they had a pretty big lead, and then they coughed it up and choked it away, and of course, you know, they
I believe that was probably TCU.
I mean, and they should have probably beat Oklahoma. They pissed that game away too, in that 62-58 basketball.
Yeah, that was retarded.
That was a classic.
Yeah. But that storied Oklahoma defense.
You know, I can't hate on it too much because I love the fact that Mike Gundy turned Tennessee down, so he's okay in my book.
Yeah, I hate this
smart fellow.
I hate this backside of the Live 10 because it's really teams that I didn't even want to put on the list, but there's 10 spots. So, you know, Oklahoma State, they did start out ranked pretty high, but nobody really ever. I mean,
I don't think everybody seriously considered them as a
actually,
playoff contender
thinking about it, Feinbaum actually went out on a limb in September at some point and said that Okie State was going to be in the Final Four in the CFP Final Four.
I remember that. Yeah.
So maybe that was in the back of my mind, so I had to throw them in the top 10. I didn't put them in the voting. The ones we voted on the sites the other day, I didn't throw them in there, but.
Number 7, Stanford Cardinal.
They were preseason 14. Never got real high in the poll. Let's see. They did end up winning the Pac-12 North and played USC off their feet in the Pac title game. They definitely couldn't have made the top 5. And they're another that I hated to even mention in here, but there was 10 spots. I think next year we're going to go with the Live 5.
Live 5.
Yeah,
let's go ahead and
streamline it.
Stanford, this is a pretty good year for Stanford.
It really is.
I mean, other than maybe winning the Pac-12 or getting to the Rose Bowl, that's about as high as they usually, can achieve in football. I mean, they always usually stumble, into September, beginning of October, here and there, a couple losses, and
got a win over their.
They hang around it. They beat Notre Dame.
Right.
They're happy about that.
Beat Washington.
And they beat Washington. So, for the recruiting classes they get, which are usually in the the 40s, then this is a pretty successful year for Stanford.
Definitely.
And they played USC tough in that game, in the Pac-12 title game. If anybody watched it, because Pac-12 is dumb.
Because it didn't matter.
And that's how they didn't get into the top 5. And now we're fixing to start getting into more interesting teams that really had a shot at winning this.
Number 6, Penn State. Everybody, in fact, fielding there were a lot of folks that were figuring that Saquon Barkley would be the Heisman finalist, and it just didn't work out for him this year.
I think the Ohio State game and then followed up with the Michigan State loss just kind of did him in.
I completely agree. And as good as Barkley is, you knew at some point they were going to have to try to throw the ball, and they just couldn't. They really couldn't throw the ball very well.
But this Penn State team was number 6 preseason, and I think everybody remembers them getting all the way to number 2 before the CFP poll came out. But that was AP, and everybody remembers James.
The other thing, you get a lot of hot air out of James Franklin.
Everybody remembers that statement that Franklin made when they got to number 2 is, what did he say about Alabama? I'm trying to remember the exact quote.
Yeah, he said something about Alabama. And I said,
but Bama don't want us.
You're writing checks.
He's right. We don't. CFP didn't want him either. Okay, here's our top 5, ladies and gentlemen. Drum roll, please. Number 5, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Yeah, we're familiar with them.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. This one's a tough one for me because, again, nobody really expected too much from Notre Dame at the beginning of the season. And then all of a sudden, suddenly out of nowhere, everybody's talking about Notre Dame for a minute.
Yeah, I couldn't have voted for Notre Dame to be live champion simply because they started the season unranked.
Yes.
But
unranked,
so they definitely exceeded everybody's expectations
last year.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's a definite improvement. Lost a close game to Georgia at home, but rose all the way to the CFP number 3. That's what gives them the right to get into the top 5 in this, is that they got all the way to number 3. And
which I think you guys know from our conversations throughout the fall that I was always skeptical of this team.
Yes.
Even when, after the loss together, I think a 4-game winning streak, but you look at those teams. Boston College, Michigan State was a decent, okay win, but then Wake Forest and no disrespect to North Carolina State, they have a nice little team, but nothing that should really totally move the meter. And so we were always kind of skeptical, and then sure enough, they laid their egg like we thought would happen at Miami.
I kind of believed in this team early.
And that was that.
I know you remember me. I thought that they would beat Georgia. And they almost did.
You did. You gave them more credit than I didn't think we would.
I figured your stance was just a pessimistic wait and see kind of stance. That's kind of how I do with Alabama a lot. But no, I mean, you were really on to something, is that they weren't there yet.
No,
and they may not get there.
Quarterbacks, that was the quarterback's second career start against the Georgia defense that had, I think, 11 returning starters on defense. So,
if I'm a Notre Dame fan, I'm definitely wanting a new coach.
I was just happy that they only lost by a point. I'll take that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about Brian Kelly?
I still want a new coach, but
yeah.
It doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime.
Not this year.
Well, and there's so many coaching vacancies at legit good programs that have come open. And again, that's the ones that have only come open before the end of the season. I mean, we haven't seen I don't think we've seen the last as far as the coaching carousel's gone this year. Not the slightest.
Absolutely.
I mentioned Mark Stoops earlier. I see him eventually, maybe not this year, but eventually he's going to wind up in one of these positions. A few of your other hot coaches at the moment, I don't think Kiffin's not going to be at Florida Atlantic very much longer.
No, I think he gets a job this year.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen. And he can work some wonders for some of these programs that are in some real trouble.
What we can do is we can take the loser of the Notre Dame LSU game. What bowl game is that in, Sean?
That's the Citrus Bowl.
Citrus Bowl.
Yeah.
We can take the loser and their shoe in the preseason Live 10 for next year.
Oh, okay.
Or the Live 5.
Yeah. Smacking Off invites you to join us on the podcast. If you have an opinion on an upcoming game, some commentary on your conference, or want to roll with one of your fellow smackers on air, hit us up. You can message us at the Smacking Off or X's and O's Facebook pages, email me at maddenshannon@toothfairy.com, or call us on the Smack line, 304-508-BAIT. And as always, fuck your team.
Notre Dame, especially Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly needs to win that game to get to 10 wins.
I think Notre Dame can win the
Because
game.
I do too.
I think he gets another couple of years there.
Right.
Which is unfortunate, but
Are you pulling for LSU?
what it is. No, I mean I got to root for my team, but
if LSU wins, then maybe it gets
then
Brian.
there's the door opens a little bit for maybe terminating it. Really, also is going to depend on where we're sitting with recruits, because right now we have a top 10 class, and I don't think they'll want to risk losing a top 10 recruiting class by firing him.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Okay, number 4, the Washington Huskies.
Damn, we should have had Tiggy on just for this one.
Yeah, Tiggy be throwing a fit right now that we even included them in this list.
All right, preseason number 8, expected to compete with USC for the Pac title. That didn't happen. Got as high as number 6 before dropping a couple on the road to Arizona State and Stanford. I mean, this team would make a great live champion.
Yeah,
they would.
Yeah, definitely deserving of the top 4.
That could be me wanting just to hear the sound of Tiggy's voice on the next episode. But definitely, yeah.
Especially considering as good of a quarterback as they have up there, that Browning kid is, I think, very good.
And to just blow it. I mean, I don't know about the Stanford loss, but they definitely had no business losing on the road to Arizona State.
No.
That was an embarrassing loss. If I'm not mistaken, Arizona State stormed the field after winning that one. That was one of those great Pac-12 after dark games this year.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along. Number 3, old Booger Harbaugh, Michigan Wolverines.
8-4. What do you think about Michigan this year, Sean?
Well, it's absolutely they're right where they should be on this list. I mean,
I don't know. Some people would argue that they should have won it.
Yeah.
They just didn't get a lot of votes when I put it up for vote, but
right. I mean, I would argue, any of the final 3, because I'm sure Auburn's probably up there, if I'm not mistaken. You said, and our other one, but Absolutely, because at least up in this part of the country, the Michigan fans prior to the season were really chirping that, okay.
Oh, yeah, this is our year. We got it now.
Number 11 rose all the way to number 7, but you could see there was problems early on. Offense was completely terrible.
That first game against Florida told you the exact nature of that team.
Against Florida, and that's this year's Florida.
No quarterback. They don't have a quarterback.
No quarterback.
Right.
No quarterback.
They end up dropping 4 of their last 8 games after they rose to number 7. They're not quite good enough.
Shea Patterson.
Go ahead.
No, yeah, go, because you said something about Shea Patterson a second ago. I want to talk about this.
So I saw that. I was going to ask you guys what you thought of that move.
This actually was one of the local sports talk shows was actually pontificating on this one the other day, and I mean Shea Patterson's right now, maybe if you had to rank the SEC quarterbacks, he's like the 4th best, perhaps. I mean, you wouldn't put him over Nick Fitzgerald, you wouldn't put him over Jarrett Stidham.
Nope.
Who else? You wouldn't put him over Jalen Hurts.
Not at all.
No. He might be a better long ball passer, but as far as a complete athlete, I mean, he's not bad and at all. But I don't see that as a sexy move for them. I really don't. I don't know that he's going to be able to make that much of a difference for them.
The thing that stuck out to me, and maybe it was a bad picture, but he looks kind of small.
Yeah.
He doesn't look very big. So I'm not quite sure if he's going to be able to take kind of the physical pounding that it might entail.
Well, and again, he has
in the SEC.
He has faced SEC defenses, which are about as big and bad as you want to get. So I mean, he was able to survive and go up there and play for old Booger. So
right,
good on him. Number 2, Mark Richt's Miami Hurricanes. I'm still getting used to saying that.
Preseason number 18 rose all the way to the CFP number 2. Could
Pitt
possibly would have got into the CFP
Pitt
if they would have beat Pitt and played Clemson a little better. Would probably have gotten in with a loss.
Yeah.
But the way it all went
Pitt,
down.
Yeah.
Pitt so close, but so fucking far away.
Yeah, Pitt fucked him on that one pretty hard. And again, that
it was going to be trouble when the temperature in that game was in the upper 30s, lower 40s in Pittsburgh, and
yep,
hard
for
those kids are not used to
not acclimated to that.
But I don't think any of us, when we talked about this earlier in the year, that we thought Miami. I mean, they were squeaking game. Remember, they just barely beat Georgia Tech.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that. So we kind of knew they were smoke and mirrors. I mean,
yeah, they won ugly pretty much all year long.
Miami got a lot of votes when we put this up. They got a lot of votes.
Miami was actually my choice for number 1.
Yeah,
my own personal choice. I felt that Pitt loss was just. I mean, I think that really summed up their whole entire season for me, and the fact that they were able to rise to the level that they did throughout the season. Was rather shocking to me. I think there was a lot of people that were surprised.
Miami didn't have the respect, though. Even when they beat Notre Dame, a lot of people started to turn their head a little bit, but still a lot of people just didn't think that they were going to be able to put this together.
Yeah.
And to me, that was the big difference between Miami and the winner here of the
And again, that may be a testament to the fact that Mark Richt just took this program over. This was with the existing talent that they already had. So I mean, that right there in and of itself, I think deserves a Coach of the Year award. Have they announced Coach of the Year yet?
There's several of the polls. I think that Smart's got to know one of them already.
Yeah, and again, what Smart's done, but you can't negate what the fact that Mark Richt actually has people talking seriously about Miami football again. So that's kind of cool,
right?
But
he's tearing it up on the recruiting path too.
He's always been a great recruiter. He did really really good at Georgia. Kirby Smart will tell you that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. He's reaping the benefits right now.
All right, everybody, brace yourselves for the drum roll, please. Your number one life championship, the life championship of 2017.
The champions of life.
Butch, this one's for you. Ladies and gentlemen, we present your champion, the Auburn Tigers.
Preseason number 12, lost close to Clemson in week 2. Really, people counted them out at that point, but fought their way back all the way to number 10, went on the road, and just had a complete collapse in the second half against LSU, and somehow LSU pulls this game out. There were Auburn people at that point that said, Gus has got to go. I'm tired of this crap. It happens every time like this. But after that, Auburn goes on a 5-game tear and beats 2 number 1 teams during that span. Mm-hmm. It was a scenario that we had talked about.
In a row.
We had actually talked about this. Auburn is the only 2-loss team that has the setup that they can get into the CFP. And people didn't just think that this team may be CFP worthy. People believed that this team was the best team in the country.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks at least.
Yeah. Week and a half, somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Do you agree, Sean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those 2 weeks, they look damn good.
Absolutely.
But then, I did watch that LSU game, and I wondered what the hell they were doing in the second half.
Exactly.
I mean, it was to me, they're the most befuddling team that I've watched all year.
It's the one thing that Malzahn is very consistent at is inconsistency.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. That's the word to describe them.
And in addition to the life championship, Auburn fans also are treated to 7 more years of Gus Malzahn.
Please subscribe to our channel by clicking the small smacking off icon at the top of the screen now. Click the link at the bottom of the screen to watch last week's episode.